We're back with Hormonal Human. Today is our first interview, which I'm very excited about. Our guest today is an expert in the old hormone world, which Stephanie and I are not. So we never try to pretend that we know what we're talking about, as convincing as we may sound. So we're going to just jump right in, and I'm going to let Megan kind of tell us who she is and what she's about, and how she's going to just help us all learn some more. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is great. So like you said, I'm Megan. I'm a holistic nutritionist. Everybody specializes in something. I chose women's hormones. I have a I guess it's probably pretty common. I bet there's a lot of women who have something similar to me, but pretty standard. Got my period, 12 years old, grade 7, pretty normal. Except I had extreme cramps, like so bad that I was hospitalized like every single month consistently. And they just would manage the pain with drugs and then send me home. And then finally they went and they sent me for an ultrasound and they found cysts on my ovaries. Not one person, not one doctor, nobody told me why they're there. They just said, oh, they'll go away eventually. Okay, I was young. I didn't know, right? So you just go on your way. And then what do? The solution, let's get this girl on birth control. Oh, yeah, it's perfect. How old were you guys when you went on birth control?
I was 14.
Yeah.
When did you do surgery? Like, how long did it take them from you getting your first period to them actually looking more into?
Yeah.
It was a couple years.
Ugh.
Years.
Yeah.
Of going through horrible.
They didn't finally put me on birth control till I was 15. So I spent years. So as soon as I went on birth control, magically everything went away. But nobody told me why. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was great. I spent 21 years on a hormonal birth control. Not good. Not good.
No.
I was on, this is the worst part, you guys. I was on 3 different pills because every pill has a different ratio of like synthetic progesterone and whatnot. So it took me 3 different ones to finally find a groove. And then I was really inconsistent with that. So they're like, oh, we'll just do the shot. I was like, perfect. 3 months, don't have a period. Wrong. I had a consistent period the entire time I was on it. Tried being like 17 years old and always having some form of a period. I lost so much hair. I had to go on a special shampoo. My weekends consisted of me waking up, eating, sleeping, waking up, eating, sleeping. Like I literally just like slept all the time. I was so tired. So then finally we switched. Then I went on the patch and then I went on the ring. And then finally I went on a hormonal IUD, a Kylina. And that one was great. I was on that thing for 7 years. And then I'm like, okay, I'm an adult. And I tell people not to go on birth control. I think it's time for me maybe to get off birth control. So now I'm on a non-hormonal copper IUD.
That's
okay. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. So now they've made them a lot smaller. So for me, I've never had kids. I don't want kids. So they now have them smaller. So there's less chance of like perforating your uterus. And they're in there for 10 to 12 years.
You don't get a period.
I get a period. Everything
you
is
do?
the exact same.
Okay.
The only thing that the copper does is it literally, everything is the same. I still ovulate. Everything is all the same. It just sterilizes the sperm. And then the little T, like, because it's literally like a little T. So if for some reason it happened to get by, the little T would kind of knock the egg off.
Dang. Okay.
I thought that the Tesla logo looks like an IUD.
It totally does. Oh my God. Now I'm never going to think about Tesla.
You're welcome.
The same.
What I think is crazy, like I love that. I don't love this for you, but I love for our audience that you can speak to literally every kind of birth control. I forgot that you could get a shot at one point. I forgot that was a thing.
God. I don't know how it's legal. I don't know how it passed. I've never heard anybody have a good experience on it.
And even the IUD, because like I was just on regular birth control pills. But even that, like I when I was talking to a girlfriend, I was like, I have no idea how IUDs work. Like there's the hormonal one. I was like, I have no idea how the copper one works. That's it. Like
so the copper one, no hormone. The hormonal one is great. It is a steady stream constantly. You know how like when you take your pill take it for 21 days and then you're off for 7 and then you start it again. So what you're doing with like a hormonal IUD, it has a constant stream of progesterone. So you never shed, because what it literally thinks, your body thinks you're pregnant. So they're like, oh, so it doesn't ever shed your lining. So you never get a period.
And so would that be the same like when people just take their
so when they want to like, oh, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to skip it. And so that's exactly what they do is then they kind of pass it and then they just get that steady stream of progesterone.
Interesting. Well, this might be a good segue into hormones, right? Like, because I guess a lot of women don't even know, like when we talk about like the basic hormones in our bodies, they affect our flow. Like, so progesterone is what stops you from bleeding, but then it's the lack of progesterone that causes you to shed. And then
so your hormones
play in here.
So your hormones fluctuate. Okay, I'll go into like what hormones are. So they're literally just these little chemical messengers that they can produce in different endocrine glands. So like some of them get produced in like the adrenals and ovary, like all these different places. Our pituitary will release certain ones. So they're different hormones, and then they travel into our bloodstream and then they go into our tissue. So they literally they're just messengers. They're like a lock and a key. So each hormone will match a certain receptor. So it's that lock and key. So they're not just like, oh, I'll just go to whatever. No, they have certain receptors that they find. It's like it's not a master key. It is one hormone for one receptor. So that's really how it works. They literally, all they are they're just these little communication. That's it. They're just communication messengers. That's it. That's all they do. But they act as like everything.
They're just these little things, but they do everything.
There are hundreds of different hormones. They literally tell us when we're hungry, when we're full. Like those are hormones that get released to tell us that. When we bleed, when we don't bleed, like when we're stressed. Like there's so many different, and how they work is typically on a negative feedback loop is really how it works. So the biggest one is, for instance, cortisol. Everyone is very familiar with our lovely stress hormone. So for instance, if our blood sugar level rises, that signals our pancreas to secrete insulin, another hormone. So what it's going to do is hormone just literally only job insulin does is it just moves glucose into our cells. So then what that's going to do is, because we have that high blood sugar, insulin gets triggered. So it's going to move insulin to our cells and it's going to lower our blood sugar. That's a feedback loop. You see that? And then it's going to move it and then done. Everything's good.
I didn't know insulin was a hormone.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Steph?
I kind of did, but kind of didn't, just from that. I didn't until last week.
Oh, because you went to the thing.
Because I went to that
event where they talked about it. Yeah, I would never have put that in a hormone category.
Insulin is the only job insulin is to move. So you've heard of insulin resistance?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk a lot about this, but so all that means is that your cells are resistant to insulin. So the glucose is not able to go into those cells. And then what happens is now it's just going around in your bloodstream. And now you've got this increase, but then they see it and then they're going to release more insulin, and that's going to trigger your liver to start converting glycogen back to glucose. It's just habit.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yes.
And then, okay, so I guess if for women then, because obviously there's hundreds of hormones.
So the biggest ones that affect us?
Yes. Yeah.
Estrogen, obviously. That's the big one. That's our fun one. Estrogen is like, I feel sexy. I want to go out. I want to party.
I'm full of estrogen today.
Yes.
This is my estrogen day.
Perfect. So you are like high estrogen. I'm in my follicular phase right now. So I am like rocking high estrogen too.
Yes.
So I'm feeling good. Like my skin is glowy. I'm just like ready to party. Okay, so
my hair feels great.
Yes. Yeah. Right? Like you feel sexy and you are ready to take on the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so estrogen is the one that we know and we talk about the most, but then we forget about its little sidekick, progesterone. Progesterone is like, so estrogen's like, we're going to party all night and we're going to do shots of tequila and this is going to be the greatest night of your life. Let's do it. Progesterone is like, I'm going to nurse you back to health so you feel really, really good. But they need to work in balance. And when they're not in balance, that's when we have a massive problem. So, does anybody have really bad periods? Mood swings, they get bloating, anxiety, yeah, cramping, literally, you name it. Yeah. The reason why you feel that way is because you have too much estrogen in relation to progesterone.
And that's why they tell you to go on birth control, I guess.
Bingo, because now you've got a steady stream of progesterone to balance out the high estrogen.
So I
Ding, ding, ding,
basically
ding.
have zero progesterone. Like I have very no,
not.
like no,
You
I know
got
I
a
don't
hormone
have
test?
zero, but I have had my hormones tested and I have very low progesterone. My doctor was very shocked that I got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And so because I was diagnosed with PCOS before I had kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a little skeptical about that because I have zero symptoms other than the fact that my period was kind of all over the place. Since having kids, my period is very normal. It comes every.
But you were always on birth control before.
No, not when we were trying to have kids.
But then, like, I wonder, maybe you'll know more. It's like, how long does it take for that to get out of your system? And then when
Everybody is so different. Every body and everybody is so different. And how one impacts you. Like some people will take a birth control and they'll be like, this is the greatest thing in the entire world. Other people will literally have psychotic breaks. Like it impacts everybody's body so differently. We are made up of trillions and trillions of different cells and everything is impacted differently. So yeah, so having low progesterone will impact your fertility.
Exactly.
So I have a question backing up a few seconds. Sorry, is that okay?
No, that go.
Just how, like you said, a lot of times the release of hormones is based on a negative feedback loop. So how does estrogen and progesterone, how do they know? Like, how does the party girl know to come play and then be like, peace? And then
so that is through luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So the pituitary is going to release them at different times. So you've got 4 phases. So we've got our menstrual phase, then we have our follicular phase, then we have our ovulatory, so when we're ovulating, and then we have our luteal phase, which is so what's going to happen is your ovary is going to release like follicles. So the dominant follicle is what the egg is, and that's going to release the So the pituitary is going to release the follicle stimulating hormone. And that's going to literally, the follicle stimulating hormone is going to stimulate. So it's that messenger that's telling your body, okay, your ovaries can release the eggs. And then there's going to be one dominant follicle, and that's going to release estrogen. Okay, so this is in our follicular phase. Okay, this is when we're feeling bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's going to go up. Okay, as we hit our ovulatory, what's going to happen is that's going to signal once that egg matures, then it's going to actually start to drop. So what's going to happen is now we're being signaled to release luteinizing hormone, another hormone, again, chemical messenger, just saying, and that luteinizing hormone is going to signal the drop. Okay, so now we no longer are going to be releasing estrogen. Now we're going to start releasing progesterone. And what progesterone does is it gets your body, you're ready. So it's going to thicken up your uterus. It's getting your body ready to have that baby. Okay, we're going to get the egg. We're ready. We're ready for a baby. Like this is it. This is our time to shine. Okay. So so that's what happens. And then it's just cycles. And then when we don't have a baby, when there's then that sheds. And then again, same thing. Our pituitary stimulates the release of follicle stimulating hormone. We release the egg, estrogen gets released, and it just like cycles over and over and over and over.
So when we have like a lack of progesterone or estrogen, is that because the follicular hormone is that what it was? The luteal hormone?
So
aren't doing that?
three main reasons why we become estrogen dominant. Okay, and this is the big one, and I talk about this a lot. There's three things. The first one is our liver sucks. Maybe we had too many drinks. It was summer, we ate kind of crappy. Maybe we drank way too much caffeine. So our liver, my favorite organ, besides like obviously the ones that keep you alive, your heart, your lungs, all that good stuff. The liver is our most underrated and underappreciated and phenomenal organ that I try to give so much love to this beautiful organ. We need to show her some love, you guys. Please show her some love. She works so hard. But what she does, one of her functions is she metabolizes our hormones, specifically estrogen. Okay, so what happens is when we have this release, right? So our estrogen is on the rise, and then it's being signaled to slow down. So what happens is our liver is going to then metabolize and get rid of that extra estrogen. Okay. Now, if our liver maybe is a little sluggish, it can't really function as properly. And now you've got excess estrogen just kind of floating around in the bloodstream. Okay, so that's one reason. Second reasons are xenoestrogens, if you guys have heard of them. So I'm sure you've heard of endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs. Okay, so xenoestrogens are fake. They are synthetic estrogen that we get from plastics. Right? You know where I'm going with this. Okay, they're in our shampoos, our body lotions, they're in our makeup. They are everywhere. Cutting boards, water bottles, they are everywhere. They are coming in our laundry detergent, in our fibers. So we are getting this, we consume just through our skin alone, liters and liters a year of chemical. So this chemical in your body, it mimics estrogen. So now, again, we have an increase of estrogen. Even though it's not real, it's synthetic estrogen, it still mimics it, and our body starts treating it like it's estrogen. Okay, why do you think hormonal cancers like breast cancer, uterine cancer, all of those are on such a massive rise? Breast cancer, who uses, I don't think many people now anymore, but think about deodorant with aluminum and titanium in it. All of your makeup has titanium in it. Those are chemicals. Those are all getting into your skin. Yeah, so now you're absorbing these, and on top of that, your liver kind of sucks. So now you've got this double, right? Now you're in this really bad, like, holy crap. Okay, and the third reason, and you guys all have kids. You guys are gonna understand this the most. So this is a third reason why your estrogen is way high compared, like in relation to your progesterone, is stress. Our lovely friend, stress. So stress shares a metabolic pathway. Sorry, not stress, cortisol. There we go. Cortisol, our stress hormone. So cortisol shares a metabolic pathway with progesterone. And because cortisol is a heck of a lot stronger, it's going to take over. So when you are stressed and your body doesn't know whether you're running from a bear or you're about to write a stressful email or, your husband's late and you think he's cheating on you, you don't know the difference. Your body has no idea. So it starts overloading and releasing cortisol. Well, because it shares that metabolic pathway, progesterone gets kicked to the wayside.
Interesting.
And now you've got all this cortisol streaming through your body. Now your weight is really coming on because your progesterone's even lower. So now you're packing on the pounds. Your anxiety, your mood, your stress eating, your blood sugar is through the roof, and you're craving the absolute worst foods. This is all reasons why we are estrogen dominant. This is what my main focus of my practice is getting us back into harmony, into balance, and that beautiful synergy of like estrogen and progesterone.
Yeah.
It's so interesting too. Elisa and I kind of touched on this our last podcast that hasn't yet, but it's interesting too. The symptoms are so similar to that of anxiety and depression. And so I had kind of touched on that I had recently been on an anti-anxiety medication because my anxiety since children has become so bad. And it's crazy how quickly the doctors are just like, here, you go on this anti-anxiety medication. And well, why didn't you check my hormones?
And so
Could that have not been like the first, instead of just throwing this chemical into my body, that was, I have to tell you, the most horrific experience of my entire life. I was on it for only 6 months. It took me 3 months to wean off of it, and it made me a walking zombie. I have never and will never want to ever feel like that again.
Yeah. First of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You are one of so many women that can relate to that, and it's just easier. And a couple things is, doctors are wonderful. They are wonderful.
Right.
They can heal you, like antibiotics. Like honestly, there is a big need for that. The problem is, like, antibiotics got way overused, right? And doctors can heal broken bones and they sew you up, and they are wonderful at doing certain things, but it is absolutely out of their scope of practice. And it is malpractice. They can be sued if they don't recommend you pharmacy, like pharmacy drug, like pharmacology. If they aren't doing that, like that comes back on them. So, and second reason is it's expensive. And there's not, I don't know why, but there is literally not, there should be a hormone panel. There should be, check the box. I want a full hormone panel. I want to know my androgens. I want to know my estrogen. And there's 3 different types of estrogen. I want to know how all 3 levels are sitting. I want to know my progesterone doing. Cortisol. I want to know what time of day I'm taking it, what time of the month. All of that impacts your cortisol levels. And so it's expensive and you have to ask for it. This is going to sound very bad. But I literally tell people, I'm like, you tell your doctor that like you are hitting the fan, and like you tell them whatever you have to do to make them get the blood work. Yeah.
And that's why we started all of this, is because it isn't everyday practice. And that's bullshit, because starting at 12, when you get your period, women are subjected to this ups and downs, and you get your period, then you get pregnant, then you're postpartum, then you get into perimenopause, and it's just all of this, like, and we're just meant to deal with it, and it's not fair.
And we're shamed for it. Like, it's time of the month again. And you're just hormonal. And like, there's different things like, why women don't run countries. They're too hormonal. And they
they're
can't
too emotional.
Exactly. And it's like, first of all, go F yourself.
Exactly.
So what I want to do, and like what really hits me with that is, because I've been on birth control, but I felt like there's always been, when you're like underwater and you can like see out, but like it's just kind of, that's how I felt like for the last 21 years. And I'm like, I am ready to meet myself. I have no idea what I'm like, because I have been on a hormonal birth control. I've been dictated by all of these different substances that I like, some type of synthetic hormone that have been dictating every single thing. And I was like, I'm ready to meet myself and like find out who I really am. And I heard hormones, and like, we are fucking powerful. I'm sorry for swearing, but like women, okay, good. Women are so powerful. And what sets us apart and what makes us way better than men in so many areas is that we have hormones on our side, and we need to stop treating them like they're bad. Like, we can't talk about our periods, and we can't talk about certain things and how we're feeling. And it's like, no, this is part of it. But when we literally learn to harness and understand and listen to our bodies and listen to what our hormones are telling us, we are literally unstoppable. And like, that's it. Like, I know I'm saying like a lot, but I'm just,
it's so great.
I mean, same. I was on birth control for years. Then it was the pregnancy, not being pregnant, then going through chemo treatment. I lost my period altogether. And then even in the middle of that, there was major levels of stress, like not even getting a period. And now it's like, I really feel like I'm I cannot believe how unaware I was of my body. Now it's like to the day where I'm like yesterday I was like, I'm still feeling pretty good. And I knew I was going into my luteal phase. And then today I woke up and I was like so curmudgeonly. I kept telling myself negative stories. And there's so much power in knowledge that I'm like, this is not you. These are your hormones, and that's okay. You can, learn to understand it and walk out of those dark pits that, that I could have gone down. I could have just thought it was me. What something's wrong with me when it's like, there's nothing wrong with me. I just need to be a little bit more gentle and like do some other things to work with this phase that I'm in.
Totally. And like, that's the thing is when we really listen to it and during our luteal phase or, it doesn't mean you just have to like shut down and, I'm going to rest and I'm going to do nothing, but just listen to yourself and understand. And like, during your follicular phase, when you're really at it, like get things done, like really plan like what you want to do, and then allow and honor yourself to rest. And during that rest time, sometimes those creative juices start flowing and like you get different ideas. And like, just if you start listening to your body and really doing and giving it what it needs, you are going to be absolutely unstoppable. And honestly, you shouldn't know you're getting it. The only reason you should know you have a period is there is blood. You are literally leaking blood. Like that is the only reason you should ever know. And if you have one tiny symptom, something's off.
What do we do?
So, do you mean that with cramps as well? Because I am on like a prescription pain medicine because my cramps for the first day and sometimes the second day is so bad that it like healed over in my bed.
So your cramps. So this is what I'm trying to tell people is your cramps are trying to tell you something. My ovaries on my cysts on my ovaries were trying to tell me something. Your mood swings, all of that. It's your body trying to tell you something. I am unhappy. Something is off. Please fix me. Please help me. Heal me. That's what your body is telling you. Okay. First thing you need to do is right away, anytime you experience that, think about, okay, I'm likely almost always probably estrogen dominant. So what do I need to do? Okay. So I need to start supporting my liver. So I'm going to do certain things that are going to support my liver. Okay. I'm going to start removing, and I'm not going to tell you that you're going to be fixed overnight. That is not the case. Things take time. Your body takes time. Like you have been feeling like this for years. For some people, it has been since they got their first period, right?
Since I was 12,
20 years. This is not going to happen overnight. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something's off. Can you help me out here a little bit? Maybe don't just take Advil. Like, can you work with me here? So it's telling you that something's wrong. Listen to it and figure out what it is. Okay. So it's going to be one or all of those three things. You're probably stressed. And I could be like, okay, you can just like take deep breaths and do yoga. Come on, that'll be fine.
I've tried box breathing.
Box breathing is great, but there are so many other things to be doing, right? So like those are the three categories. So
can you say them again?
An expert. So your liver.
Yep.
Xenoestrogens, which is your estrogen. Like, you've taken estrogen.
Are xenoestrogens considered endocrine disruptors?
Yes.
Okay.
All endocrine disruptors are xenoestrogens.
Oh, I didn't know they were like two in the same. Okay.
Completely linked. You can almost use them. So all endocrine disruptors are going to impact your hormones, which are like xenoestrogens. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then the third is stress.
Right.
Okay. So you're lacking one, two, or all three areas. Okay. So you have to do this over time. So the business, so I started like I love hormones, but what I called my practice was the Healthy Habit Project.
Yeah. Tell us what you do.
Yeah. So all it is literally healthy habits. Do them slowly and it has to be sustainable. That's it. Easy, done. Yeah. That's it. My work here is done. So it's all about making small changes that are going to stick. Everything I do says, I keep thinking to myself, is this sustainable? Can I do this every day for the rest of my life? If the answer is no, then don't do it. Right? That's what I have done everything. Like, I don't believe in dieting. fasting has its place 100%. Not really when it comes to our hormones. It's not going to fix it. It's actually probably going to make them a little bit worse because your body gets pretty high on adrenaline. Anyway, you have to do things that are sustainable and things that you can do, right? So some easy things right away. Start drinking more water. Add lemon into there. Like focus on the liver. Anytime you take, so there's certain things, yeah, right? So there's certain things I drink out of like a glass mason jar. It's 1 liter. It's easy to track. I know exactly how many I'm drinking in a day. So anytime you need to do fancy supplements, and I'm not a huge supplement person, they have their place 100%. But anytime you're taking something different, like if you're taking a nice multivitamin, vitamin D, magnesium, things like that, take them every day. That's great. Omegas, 100%, take them every day. Certain things should be, so certain things should be done intermittently. Give them 90 days. So if you decide like, okay, I'm going to give my liver some love, I'm going to drink some tea. What's the word I'm looking for? Like bitters are really good for your liver. So dandelion root, I'm sure you guys have heard of dandelion root. Yeah, right. That's the tea you can take. Do those for 90 days. Give your body 3 months to just get things sorted out and then stop. Supplements. Stop. Don't be taking them like if they're meant to be taken intermittently, 90 days break. Okay. Your liver is going to be the one that's going to be metabolizing and breaking down all of these supplements. If you just start hammering your body full of supplements, what are you going to do to your liver? You're going to overrun it. Okay. So do it slow. Okay. 90 days, give it a break.
That's interesting.
Okay,
sorry, you keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I was at a phase where I was taking all these supplements. I mean, given it was different when I was like going through chemo, but then when you start to get like, well, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to take this thing and this green juice and this. And then I was like, my mind was more like when we were having like out of COVID, the shutdown of like everything was back ordered. I was like, what if it came to a point where I couldn't take these things every day?
You know what? You're going to be okay.
That's just it. It's like, I don't want to be I don't want to think that my well-being, living the most optimal version of me is dependent on this slew of 100 different pills I think I need to take.
This is my problem. And I'm by no means having any disrespect for naturopaths, but this is my one problem with naturopaths is they hammer you with, you can cut that by the way, if I shouldn't say that. But they hammer you with supplements. And supplements are exactly what they say. They're there to supplement.
Yeah.
Okay. So where your diet lacks, they are there to help. They kind of give you that little bit of boost, and then you send on your way, and then out you go. It's kind of like they're training wheels.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. So like my liver. So I'll take a liver supplement for usually I'll do it twice a year. Usually after summer, once my liver is torched. Yeah. And then sometimes in the spring I'll do, you know what I mean? So like I'll just kind of, I cycle it. So so that's some things, quick things that you can do for your liver. Easy peasy. Do I think you should do a juice cleanse and all that? No, it's not sustainable and it's ridiculous. You don't need that. Juicing, I got really big into juicing when my mom had cancer. So same thing. And juicing this is my opinion, should be done medicinally. It does not need to be done every single day. Do it because you enjoy the taste of it. Don't do it because you think you're being healthy. It is not sustainable to juice every single day. And quite frankly, it's expensive.
I had a juice shock, right? Yeah. I had a juice shock because I was like, and even then I hated juicing.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, so those are some things. And then xenoestrogens. Okay, so now let's start small and work our way. Deodorants, shampoos, body lotions. When you spray perfume, spray it on your clothes. Don't spray it on your skin. Spray it on your clothes. Makeup. Only wear makeup when you have to. And if you can, find cleaner ones. Yeah. There's a reason why we break out a lot is those chemicals, right? So start with skincare and all of those, and then cleaning products. You can buy clean products or just use vinegar and water. Use things that are already in your house. Like our great grandparents and our grandparents, they didn't have fancy stuff. They just cleaned with what they had. A lot of vinegar, things like that. So anyway, So a big thing is I'm going to say, so do not store food in anything plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So even if you buy things from the grocery store and they're sitting in a plastic bag, put it in one of those mesh bags. I love grapes right now because I'm not perfect. I like sugar. Let's be honest. I'm a woman and I like to eat candy. Okay. So that's what it is. So I buy grapes. I love them because I grab a handful. Anytime I'm craving something sweet, I go in my fridge, I grab a handful of grapes, and then I'm good. It completely satisfies me. As soon as I get home, I take them out of the plastic, I wash them, and they go in a glass container. Okay. Meal prep. So things like that. Cutting boards, you guys, those are plastic, and now you're cutting it up. These tiny little microplastic.
Should we be using wood?
Wood, yes. Just be careful. Like bamboo is a really hard wood, so try to get a nice softer wood because it'll just dull your knives a little faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely use wood, no problem. And then again, our coffee cups. If anybody is a coffee drinker, please, if you go for coffee, just bring your own cup and have them fill it in there because it is cardboard. It is not. It is lined with plastic or else it would melt.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are so many different things that like you just have to be mindful of, and nothing's perfect. Yeah, my shampoo bottles sit in plastic. I'm not gonna go buy glass jars. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. I pick and choose my battles. Yes, I have Botox. Okay, I do. But I'm a woman, but I pick and choose, right? Like I do a lot of things. So that's all, and I get it like once a year. So if you, it is so overwhelming and you will drive yourself absolutely mad. So don't do that and just start small and just don't go and throw everything away. Just, oh, you know what? My deodorant's out. Now I'm going to go buy a better one. Or you know what? I ran out of shampoo. Now I'm going to go buy a better one. So go to the website, ewg.org, Environmental Working Group, and you can search products or you can search categories. So, for instance, lately I've been looking for like a clean mascara. So first of all, I looked at what mine was rated and I was like, okay, that's not good. And then I looked at mascara and you can rate them from EWG verified right to the crap end of it. So buy things that are EWG verified.
Yeah. I've been on that website. It's slick because I wanted a good laundry detergent that was like clean. Because I'm always like that. You like wash your bedding in it where you sleep with your
live in it
into it. It's on your body all the time.
Yeah.
So I like that website a lot. It is eye-opening. Like sunscreen.
100%.
That was another big one where I was like,
I am crazy with sunscreen. Honestly, and this is probably similar to you. So my mom was diagnosed with cancer. So as soon as someone in your life, you specifically, because you were diagnosed, you kind of get a little bit like, oh, and then you start, sunscreen is I will never, ever use like chemical laden sunscreen ever.
So I actually listened to a podcast and it was from a doctor. It was Kristen Cavallari, and Elisa, I've talked to you about this podcast before, and she interviewed her doctor. And he said not to wear sunscreen. What you should be doing is beginning of summer, call it spring, going out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and building that base, because naturally your skin will have your protective layer on it, and that we shouldn't even be wearing sunscreen.
You know what? In a perfect world, there's a lot of things we shouldn't be doing. Right. The problem is, who does that? And like there's days where, and some of us live in, I mean, not us, as in we live in Canada, we get no sun.
Yeah. Right.
Like, we need to be taking a vitamin D even in the sun.
Yes.
But there's not enough, and we need vitamin D. So, but the problem is too much of that, and then now you literally damage yourself to the point of cancer.
Right.
Yeah. My feelings on the sunscreen thing is like kind of what you're saying is that would be nice. But if you spend a day on the boat, you're not able to mitigate your sun exposure by going into the shade. So sometimes it's that risk reward we go back to. If you're able to be like, okay, I'm in the sun, I've had enough sun for the day, I'm going to step out of it and, wear a hat and things.
Sunshine exposure is so great.
Then I don't wear sunscreen. But if I know I'm going to be out on the beach all day and I'm not going to be able to escape the sun when I know my body needs to, sunscreen is a good alternative. And then try to find the best kind that you
Yeah. And think about kids. You gonna get your kid to keep his hat on? Not a chance.
I don't.
Gone.
I don't put sunscreen on my kids.
Yeah.
I never have. Like they've always, I don't
And
know.
I'm not saying you should or what you shouldn't do.
Yes.
And this is where it's like you have to pick and choose your battles.
Right.
And but your kids are also not you're not keeping them in the hot sun. They're not like, oh, I need to get a base tan.
Right.
No,
in
like
the
that. It's very different when you're a child and when you're like 20 years old and you want to have a sick tan to go clubbing.
Right. Remember tanning beds? And I still can't even believe those still exist. Like I cannot believe those still exist.
I'm not
I wasn't mad at them when I was 20.
I went
They were great. I loved them.
Yeah.
And then they were great. Getting a
God.
nice.
But yeah, I think it goes back to that balance. Cause like on the flip, it's like if you never see the sun, you're not taking vitamin D, like you lather yourself in a chemical, like disgusting sunscreen. You're doing yourself a disservice.
Totally.
And I like what you say, like doing, like risk to reward, do the little things. Like we were talking, I just tried the Nixit instead of putting tampons in me, but I was like, who am I? Like, I'm so worried about these toxins I'm sticking in me, but I have my glass of wine, on the weekends.
Honestly,
I might have 9 of those glasses.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, pick and choose your battles and know that hey, you know what? That's okay. My secret thing that I love to eat and I never do, but when I do, I can't stop. Cereal. Children's cereal. What is wrong with me? I'm a grown ass adult.
Cereal.
I just, or whatever.
Lucky Charms. I would not shy away from Lucky Charms every once in a while.
I don't care. You know what? I know I'm going to pay the price for this. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. Sorry. And then the last point I really want to touch on, the last reason is stress. And this one's a big one. And if we're running out of time, I'll be really quick. So there's a few things that I want to talk about. And this specifically, I hope stays in there because have you guys heard about your vagus nerve?
Yeah. Heard it. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Vagus literally just means it's Vagus, not the fun, let's go to Vegas. It's your vagus nerve. So it starts in your brain and it comes down and vagus literally just means neck. So it just goes this and then it separates and then it starts splitting and it starts reaching out to your hormones or your different organs. Okay. So this nerve here down to this vagus nerve, when it is activated, it is going to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. Also known as rest and digest. Okay. What is the exact opposite to fight or flight? Rest and digest. Okay. So when we are in high stress, which is, again, I said earlier, we don't know if we're fighting a bear, we're starving to death. We don't know if we're sending an email or we don't know anything, right? So we have this high cortisol. Our sympathetic nervous system is always activated and we are always stressed. We are worried about picking the kids up from school on time and, oh my God, what am I going to make for their lunches? And oh my God, it's crazy hair day and I have nothing. And right? We are always on edge. Okay. So what happens is we need to stimulate this vagus nerve that sits down here around your neck, or we need to activate that because, okay, I've got a question for you guys. I always have to talk about poop. It's just always going to happen. Are you guys one of those people that when you're stressed, does your digestive system shut down or do you get the stress poops?
Mine shuts
Get the
down.
stress poops.
Okay, perfect. So one and the same. Yeah.
Shuts down when I travel, but when I'm stressed,
you're like, eliminate everything. We need to get all
pee out of my bum. Yes.
Yeah, so that is literally a stress response. So what happens is when you're stressed, this release of cortisol, and cortisol is good. We need it to regulate. It literally keeps us alive. Too much, that's a problem. And what happens is our body goes into this whole fight or flight mode and everything else gets to the wayside. So your body's first response is we need to get glucose into the cells, specifically our heart, our lungs, we're going to dilate. Like we need to run from this bear. We're hunting lions. Like we need to go now. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you know what? Before we do that, can I just stop and pee? Even though it's a really dangerous situation and I'm probably going to get eaten by lions, but like, I'm just going to stop and pee. It doesn't happen. It shuts down. So your stress response is to immediately eliminate. And then that way you can go, and your response is to stop. We're done. We'll deal with that later. So that is an instant stress response. Okay. So right away, when you know that's happening, you're like, okay, my sympathetic nervous system is stimulated. I need to calm that down. I need to relax. I need to get some vagal stimulation happening. So the best thing, we've all heard of Wim Hof. Yeah. Unfortunately, cold therapy is actually very good for activating that. Okay. So
it's just shaking our head now for those who can't.
Don't worry. Nope. I'm not going to tell you. I am not going to tell you to get a cold shower. But what I am going to tell you to start with, go get a cold cloth, or go put like a cloth in the freezer, like wet it and put it in the freezer and put it around your nose. Start small.
Okay. I can do that.
Like a bowl, fill up a bowl and just like go down and dip your face in. And I do it very calmly. Don't be like,
that is what I will do.
So you have to be very calm. You just like nicely dip your face. You come back out, you refresh a bit, and then you do it again. Those are ways that, without having an ice cold shower or bath, are going to help activate that, and really stimulate that.
So that stressed me out. The cold shower. I tried it. There is nothing worse in the entire world. I was like, no, I am done. This does not work.
So don't worry. You don't have to do that. So don't worry about it. So start with, just like something cold around your neck. Start baby step, and then dump your face, and then slowly. And it's great, especially, so these are all really good to do before bed, because what happens is when our cortisol is high at night, which it should never be, but often it is, there's so many reasons why we're going to have to do like 3-part podcast, you guys. I'm sorry that I'm talking so much.
Don't worry about it.
No, it's good.
But yeah, so doing these before bed, box breathing, like mentioned, really great to stimulate that. Taking omega-3 before bed rather than in the morning. Taking a probiotic at night rather than in the morning. Those are some good ways. Chanting, and like, it's so, when you go to like yoga and they like tell you, they're like, that like really, and like that like really low hum.
Oh yeah,
that chant, that vibration. So that vibration is going to stimulate your vagus nerve. So these are all ways so that like to calm down and get that rest and digest back up.
Amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So these are like the 3 areas that I wanted to touch on that are like, these are some ways that you can improve.
Love it.
Wow.
So much.
We're
going to have you back, because there's so many,
like we could do 3 stuff. We could talk for 3 podcasts, 4 or 5. Well, like, so there's just so much to learn, and there's so many different facets of everything. So
before we let you go today, can you tell us where everybody can find you on the social medias if they want to get in touch with you or learn more about what you do?
So just Megan Rabby, MEGAN RABBUI. Easy peasy.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was awesome.